You know how sometimes when you want to buy something and it's on sale, you don't have money, but the second you get money, everything just becomes 3 times more expensive? Hello everyone, welcome to Narin's Life with MS. This is Narin and it's time for Friday Findings, and I am so excited that I am sharing two pretty great pieces of news. One, of course, being a certain study that, showed something that looks and sounds very promising, but I'll let you be the judge of that. And of course, the other one being another, win for an MS therapy. And that too, one that can definitely help out a very large group of MS patients. So there definitely is a lot to look out for on this episode. But of course, with all of that being said, please do go through this entire video. Do read the articles that are linked in the description section of this video, so that you can form your own opinions, and of course you can definitely share them with me by commenting on this video. So yes, please drop your thoughts, your insights, your experiences, so that we can get a conversation started. And without further ado, here is article number 1. Article number 1 is actually about a very small molecule that has been found to help in remyelination, in certain studies that were conducted. So, this molecule called CN045 has been seen in mice to actually to pretty much recreate myelin in places where myelin is lost, right? Obviously, this is for MS patients, this is amazing news. This is great news. Of course, considering that, this study has just been conducted, there are, of course, lots of things that need to happen. First of all, one of the things that does occur with CN045 is the fact that it does not last in the body for a very long time, which means that there have to be certain ways where it can last for a long enough time where it can actually do its job of recreating myelin. Of course, one of the good things that scientists have definitely indicated is that it is very possible to modify CN045 so that it can last in the body for a much longer time, so it can actually do the job it is intending to do. Another thing that does need to happen is, because this is a mouse model right now, this has only been tested on mice. Of course, human tests do need to be conducted, but of course, before all of that, there does need to be a certain molecule that has to be present, has to withstand the conditions within the body for a much longer time, so that it can pretty much perform its duties, but knowing that there are certain molecules and simple molecules that are out there that can definitely help in remyelination is, of course, a great thing, and definitely, at least to me, the right step that needs to happen for multiple sclerosis, considering that will definitely allow us to pretty much go back in time, per se, into what we were able to do a few years back. So that, of course, covers article 1. You can definitely read more information regarding this article from the description section of this video. And of course, please do share your thoughts, your insights, and your experiences. I know maybe not so many experiences, but definitely your thoughts and insights, so that we can get a conversation started. But with that being said, it's time for article number 2. Article number 2 discusses stem cell therapy. right? We do know that stem cell therapy does exist for MS, and this study actually used 12 patients with progressive forms of MS who actually went through stem cell therapy, which are stem cells that are specifically designed to pretty much be injected into the brain or the spinal cord so that they can turn into neurons or any part of the entire neural network essentially of the body. The result of this study, which was part of the STEMS study, which is a phase 1 trial of this neural stem cell therapy that is being conducted for MS, showed that for the patients that actually underwent neural stem cell therapy, they actually did not experience increased amounts of brain damage, brain atrophy for that matter. They did, or brain shrinkage as it's called. They actually noticed that there was pretty much a very similar rate of degeneration of the brain as compared to regular human adults. Now, of course, again, this is some great news considering that, of course, with progressive forms of MS, one thing that does happen is that, you are going to notice brain shrinkage along with the fact that your motor functions are also going to slowly decline over time. Of course, speaking of motor functions, unfortunately the neural stem cells did not end up impacting the degeneration of motor functions, so people still did over time, over the course of 6 years when the study was conducted, did end up you know regressing in terms of the motor functionality. But with that being said, considering that they scientists have actually shown that using neural stem cell therapy can allow patients to actually reduce or practically eliminate the brain damage that is happening, especially in progressive forms of MS, does have a huge amount of promise for future patients, especially progressive MS patients who can look at neural stem cell therapy as a way to at least make sure that in the brain they are actually not experiencing the same level of degeneration. So then there is some form of topical medication for or topical therapy for one side of the list of issues that they might have. And so that now if further research is actually conducted, like I mentioned, this was a phase 1 trial, so phase 2 trial does need to happen before, of course, phase 3, and then it slowly goes into production. Before all of these things do end up happening, one thing that does need to hopefully does happen is that this treatment does get approved, so that there is at least some level of respite for patients with progressive forms of MS. And this has been shown to be effective in both primary progressive MS and secondary progressive MS. So that way, I think there are definitely really good signs for the future of seeing maybe another form of treatment that is present for progressive MS patients who really do not have as wide a catalog as relapsing forms of MS patients. Just because relapsing tends to be a little higher in terms of a little higher in terms of the number of cases. So that this covers article number 2. As always, the link of this article is going to be shared in the description section, so you can definitely read it. And once you have read it, you can definitely come back and give your thoughts, your insights, so that we can get a conversation started. But of course, with that being said, this is article number 2. So with both of these articles, I hope you definitely got something that you can look forward to, and something that you can definitely ensure does happen um, in the very recent that does happen in the very the very near future, considering that these both of these articles shared some form of good news for MS patients of pretty much MS patients all over, considering that there is one thing that is allowing us to remyelinate our our entire nervous system, and then the other one being something that is more predominantly focused on progressive MS patients. Either way, I do see that there is something great that is happening in the field of MS research and MS treatment. So hopefully both of these articles do end up being valid enough that, and can actually be tested far enough that they actually do become solutions for MS patients to be able to actually fight this disease on a much better footing than where we are today. So of course, with that said, this is Naren with MS. I am Naren, and I just want to wish you a very happy weekend. I know it is Friday, so I hope you have some great things planned for your weekend, and that you are going to get the rest that you totally deserve, right? That you probably did not get during the week. But of course, with all of that said, and considering I'm pretty much done with everything I have to say, here's me wishing you good night, sweet dreams, and I will catch you tomorrow. Bye.